I got your question in the email. You want to graph this trig function over one period. Y equal cosine quantity x minus pi over 6 close quantity. Well, different ways to find phase shift. What I do is take in the parentheses and solve that for x, to get the phase shift. So you just add pi sixth. So the phase shift is pi sixth here. The period, just have a 1 here. Period's 2 pi for the cosine. So if it starts at pi sixth, I want to find out where the end of the period. It says graph over one period. So I take pi sixth, and I want to add 2 pi to that. I want to add these numbers. So I got to get a common denominator, multiply that by 6 over 6. So, 2 pi here, same as 12 pi over 6, and I got pi sixth. So that gives me 13 pi over 6. Some calculators can handle fractions, I know. So you might be able to punch out, 6 plus 2 and get 13 over 6 and add the pi with some calculators. So I start the drawing here, drew the x and y axis. It's going to be going between -1, +1. So, one period we want to start at pi sixth and go to -13 pi over 6. So your question it's a common question. How do I divide this up evenly? So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 intervals. Well, one way is just to add these two numbers and take half of it, and that'll give you this middle. So take half of pi over 6 plus 13 pi over 6. And this is the most common way I've seen. There are other ways. So you add pi over 6 to 13 pi over 6, that's 14 pi over 6. Multiply it by half, that's 14 pi over 12. And then you simplify that. You can divide them both by 2. They always like you to simplify. So that'd make this middle one 7 pi over 6. So how do you find this one? Well, you just repeat that process, adding these two guys and multiplying by half. And so you want to add pi sixth and 7 pi sixth. Multiply by half, or that's same as dividing it by 2. Pi 6 plus 7 pi 6 is 8 pi over 6. Multiply that by half, that's 8 pi over 12. You divide by 4, that's 2/3, 2 pi over 3. That 2 pi over 3, that would be right here. Now, you might be able to put this, if your calculator can hand fractions, you could just go half times the quantity, 1/6 plus 7/6, close the quantity, and it'll give you that 2/3, and of course you got to add the pi back in. Now we want to find the midpoint, for these two guys. Well, this guy is 7 pi sixth. This guy over here is 13 pi over 6. So you want to add those two and multiply it by half to find the midpoint. So if you add those two, that's going to be 20 pi over 6. Multiply that by 2, that'd be 20 pi over 12. You can divide each of these by 4, so that's 5 pi over 3. So this guy here's, 5/3 pi. So this is one way to do it. There are others, but this seems to be the most common way I've seen. I guess I could draw in a graph, hopefully, perhaps you know what the cosine looks like. It's going to start up here. It's going to cross here. It's going to come down here, cross again, and then be back at its maximum. So one period, I'm not drawing this the nicest, but it's going to look roughly like that. Hope this helps.